Do. Hey guys. Oh, all kinds of cracking, all kinds of stiffness. We're here for the reimagining of Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball GT. So in the last one, basically kind of do big points is we understand more about the Saiyans, we get more about the Namekians, we get Piccolo's name, we get permanent death like Launch and Chatsu. Launch died to Deki P, which means two deaths, and she would be two along the way with the Namekian Dragon Balls. And because the Namekian Dragon Balls are the only ones who can revive you after 2 times, once they get new Namek, Chatsu cannot be brought back, and he doesn't want to be brought back because he feels like he's been hindering Tien. After Buu Saga, it's mostly a lot of people, either some of the population of Earth on top of some of the Z fighters and other companions like Oolong, Puar, I believe Nam should probably be dead. So basically a lot of people decide to stay in the afterlife after Buu Saga. So most of the people that are continuing going are people who either retired from the whole Z fighter thing. Like Tien is a master at a martial arts school. Yamcha's moving. Well, I said Tien. Tien is a master. Yamcha is a baseball player. I feel like Master Roshi would probably be one of the few people to be kept back, but that's more of to make sure the new generation of fighters has an idea of what to do. But moving on to the very end, so basically it'd be working like normal. It'd be end of Z, and then we'd fast forward into the last few days of Prime Vegeta and Prime Goku, where they know they're gonna age out and they're not gonna be as powerful as they once were. So to kind of go out with a guns blazing kind of mentality, they do an amazing one for the books kind of fight, and it ends with them doing extremely powerful beams that it kills each other, but it's a lasting impact for years to come. So imagine the Aurora Borealis on Earth, but that's in the stars, and it's just a beam clash that is so powerful that it's that the energy is still living and slowly creeping towards planets, and that's just how powerful it was. And I believe that would be the end of the normal timeline, where, after Boo, they'd have mostly peace. But I'd say then we would jump into the Xenoverse stuff, and Toa and Mira would be messing with all the timeline stuff. They pick Bardock away from his death, that way he's still technically dead, but it opens a rift enough to rip apart several big moments, and it gives them a chance to try to take out some of the greatest fighters like Goku and Vegeta when they were most vulnerable. Because I believe, even though that they're technically powerful and they have a lot of things that most mortals can't do, same thing with Supreme Kai, is Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2 are pretty decent power to them. So Super Saiyan 3 is just out of their league. So anything from end of Buu Saga to anything later is just it's too strong for them to fight. So they need to kill them while they're either Saiyan Saga, maybe early Namekian Saga. Cell Saga might be a little bit difficult, but they could probably take them out there too. Or they would increase the power of some of the most deadliest opponents at the time, like Jiren, and they'd lose to Jiren. The thing I would say would be that because of this, it would split the timeline, and we'd have GT timeline, Super timeline, and then just Z's ending. So Super timeline, it's more or less the same. For Resurrection of F, I wouldn't introduce the blue. I'd introduce just God Vegeta. That way, they're both at the same marking, and we get more time with God. And instead of Frieza coming back, I'd say this is the time that Cooler gets introduced. Because some of the stuff I did before was like, hey, Raditz isn't Goku's older brother, it's Turles. And Raditz is more Borgos' son. While he's still connected to Team Bardock, he's still a forgettable character because he's a side character's son. And then Turles is more well known for some reason, and just because he's a Goku lookalike, and you might as well make him the brother. And then, little points like that I've changed. Here I would like Cooler to kindly be canon by being a main threat, and his final form, the 5th form with a mask, being a proper transformation to go toe and toe with the blue form, or the God forms. That way, Gold, which is just a color change, has no reason to exist. So it's more of a transformation rather than a bunch of ki that makes you Gold. So Cooler would go against God Goku and God Vegeta, and then we would say I would like to have seen Vegeta push his limits, and he would touch an evolution God form, because that's how he seems to be wanting to, in the anime, that he wants to move on with his power set. Is that instead of them going blue, is that Goku would have Kaioken still, while Vegeta would have his evolution forms. And I'd say during the Goku Black saga, we wouldn't have Goku Black. It would be future Gohan Black. Because the issue, I'd say, with the Future Saga, while it's a good concept, it's weird because Goku, by all means, hasn't done anything against the moral code for him to be targeted. Yes, he's powerful, and yes, he's spoken out in terms of gods, but Beer's right there basically says something to him. So it'd be more understandable that while yes, this Zamasu wants to become evil, the future timeline one has overlooked Earth and overseen Earth, and has seen the time travel and the things that the humans have done to try to go against the natural flow of time and other things. So to kind of break the hope that Trunks brings with the time machine is he would take over future Gohan's body. And he would be what was once the savior of that timeline become anew. So I would say instead of Goku Black just being a Zamasu that flipped the script, took over Goku's body just because he hated that he was more powerful than him, or showing off in front of gods, and then going to a different timeline somehow, some way, and staying there. I feel like because he's Zamasu from the Super timeline, that he would be able to stay in our plane. But that kind of makes no sense that he gets reverted back to the future timeline. So I'd say future Gohan Black. That way it would be understandable how much grief future Trunks feels. And then here I would introduce Blue Goku, Blue Vegeta. I would introduce not Super Saiyan Rose. I'd introduce a a God Key induced ultimate state for Gohan. And then moving on, we go into the the Universal Survival Saga, or TOP as we call it. 41. I feel like here would be a good point to like reintroduce. So during the Universe 6 tournament, they would show off Kaioken and Evolution. Here, because Blue has existed for one saga, they could kind of like, for the Jiren fight, introduce Blue Evolution and Blue Kaioken as well. But because Blue was a big, major fighter, I feel like they would overpower Zamasu and all that and merge Zamasu. It's just the fact that an immortal and someone that could match the power of Blue, because that's how Super's weird power scaling works, that'd be understandable. And then I would still introduce UI and stuff. And then Brawly would still be normal, but I would beat them with... I would introduce Gogeta in that, and then for for the most part, I don't care for Dragon Ball Super Superhero, but it does bring a forth like, hey Piccolo, all you have to do is use the Dragon Balls that were once under a part of you, and then there's also Gohan, who's able to like tap more into his more beast-like state. And I don't care for Beast Gohan. It's basically ripping off of a fan animation, like the Gohan verse, and it's El Blanco. I feel like, yes, I understand that hair kind of looks like Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and that kind of makes you want to like nostalgically go back to... Well, actually, with Piccolo being a decent character and him being Super Saiyan 2, kind of wants you to go back to the Cell Saga, which I think is the whole setup, because Cell Max happens. I believe let's tone down the hair at least, and then possibly kind of do a better like understanding of that. Is just like, it's actually it's the clashing of Saiyan and human genes to make this transformation happen. And then going to GT, I would not make Goku a kid. I would just make the fact that they yet again... So basically, the peel-off gang in every single timeline becomes like youth. They always choose to go into like babies. So I believe we would have Z. They would do it. Future timeline. They did it, and that's why they failed to save anyone the day that the androids attacked. Super timeline, they'd still do it. I would say that they didn't. They don't become like henchmen though, because I absolutely hate the Trunks and Mai relationship. It's cringy. It's a 40s. Well, actually, it's like a 60-year-old woman, because they said in the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero that Goku's in his 40s, and that was a grown woman when he was young. So she's got to be like 60s, 70s, and here she is talking to a 11, 12-year-old in this show. So, well, yes, she looks the part. Her body is the part. Her mentality and her, like, knowledge. Not to mention she was a bad guy. You know, age is just a number once you're at 18, but he's not 18. And then, so GT, they would make the wish, but this time it wouldn't be for Goku. They would actually get it properly right where they would become young adults again, but they still can't do anything against Goku. Excuse me. But that still triggers the Black Star Dragon Balls to go disperse. They'd have to still do the whole thing, but this time Goku's an adult. I would say it's kind of confusing to kind of say what I would like to do for here. I'd say Gohan would want to go, but yet he's still got to be an adult and stay back. And he's also one of the most powerful, so I'd say he would need to stay back. And he in both timelines, Super and GT, stick with his training. He's able to fight at Ultimate State, and in GT, because there's a time skip, he's able to stack Super Saiyan on top of it. And a lot of people back then would know this is like Mystic Super Saiyan, and it's kind of like an unofficial form, and it feels like he would have done something like this because he is still strong in Dragon Ball GT, and Baby notices this, but because of his like work job, he doesn't really do too much with it. So I feel like he would be staying behind just in case something happened. I'd say I want Vegeta to come along. That way we can kind of feel... I'd say instead of the 3-person ship, it would be a 5-person ship. Have Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, Goten, and Pan. Oh, jeez. What was I saying? Everything's going off right now. So basically it'd be a 5-person ship. You get the chance with Goten and Trunks as more adults. They get out and about. We get Goku and Vegeta being able to fight opponents. Not to mention they're their main people that fight. And then Pan, it's like, hey, now that you're old enough, we need to explore who you are as a person. And while I would say we would get more options between Pan and, the Trunks and Pan and normal GT is pretty fun because it's like, hey, I'm like your cousin, basically. And, I would like to kind of like be somewhat of a sibling bond with her. I'd also like the Goten relationship where she's more of the adult rather than him, because Videl, even in the high school years, was pretty serious. So I feel like Pan would take that role of just like, even though he's basically a young adult, she would be the more mature one of the two. And then Vegeta would kind of be the one who gets him into trouble every now and again because of what he says and does. I'd say normal adventures happen, baby attempts, but I'd say it's pretty easy once Gohan is defeated on Earth. I'd say if it was Vegeta on the planet, he would have won. So instead of the normal timeline, if the normal timeline happened, it would have been a wash. Vegeta would have won, and they would have probably been able to counter it. But because of Vegeta being out in space, and he would be the one to first be. So in the normal show, Baby attempts to possess Trunks, but he's too powerful. But he still lays an egg. That way, once he was strong enough, he could fully possess Trunks once he had enough power. Here's what happened, especially with Vegeta, because at this point, Vegeta is only as strong as Super Saiyan 2, as a mastered Super Saiyan 2. So I believe he would, because of the entire population of Earth and Gohan, he would be able to take over Vegeta. And, they'd be able to gang up on Goten, Trunks, and Pan. Well, not Pan, because she still gets away, I'd say. I'd say that'd be the last thing Goten does before getting possessed. Saving her, getting Hercule and Boo, well, Hercule, and then Hercule goes and runs into Boo. And then that would leave Goku alone. And that'd still do Baby and Vegeta, Super Saiyan 4. In the normal series, an adult Saiyan's tail, it takes it can be up to a decade before it regrows or longer. So since they never attempted to pull their tails out, they never regained them. But because of the situation, they pull out his tail, and it's slightly mutated because it took so long to pull it out. It instantly kind of gives him a bigger strength boost, and it also unlike before where you can pull the tail to make it a weak spot, here it's not at all. It's so connected to the spine that it kind of works as a third arm. And then just to kind of like explain it better, kids and teens can like do it every few months, while an adult needs years or longer. But anyways, they do that. Super Saiyan 4 happens. I would say skip the... Jesus, I'm yawning like a son of a bitch. I'd say skip Super 17. That was such a horrible timeline. I'd say maybe introduce... I'd still have Hell come down and be hell on Earth, kind of. But I feel like Hachisak, I think it is, should be the reason why. That way people come back, but it's not some mystical, magical clones. Let's see here. Shadow Dragon Saga is the most... I'd say Shadow Dragon Saga is the best saga overall, just because it is the big thing that we've used to like make sure people are safe and fine, and we rely on them too much, they become the villain. Sorry, my yawn. My yawn is getting horrible. Then, because it's just like Dragon Ball Saga's where they're finding their footing. Saiyan Saga is the introduction of the Saiyans, but not the greatest. Namek Saga is the most legendary fight because it shows off Super Saiyan and has some of the more shown off fight. But yet it's still, for the most part, lame. Because you're like running back and forth for Dragon Balls. And then, then we introduce to these cronies that have weird powers, which is half the movies. Cell Saga is kind of like, hey, you remember Dragon Ball? Like OG? Here's like a get back revenge story. Boo was pretty good. I'd say Boo Saga would be the second best, just because it is such a like, okay, they're like, there's barely any options to win this, so we need to go high stakes. And then for what's it called? Trying to remember. See that? I hate most of Super. Like, it's fun, but it does nothing in terms of story. High Stakes is there, but yet it's like the only high stakes really is Universe Survival Saga, but it's kind of like Xeno makes it to where you have to do it or everyone will be erased anyways. Future Saga, it's more of like they could have just saved mine in Trunks and like left it to be destroyed by Zamasu. Like, hey, once we know that he's immortal and we can't really do anything, like if it weren't for Zeno, Zeno erased it in the first place. So it's like the second that they figure out that he's immortal, they should have just backed off and like went back, killed off Zamasu. That way he wouldn't become immortal. Left them in the timeline. That way they'd have somewhere to live, and live with them somewhere else. But no, they didn't. So nothing in Super. Baby Saga's up there. Super 17 sucked. So I'd say Baby Saga, Boo Saga, and then Shadow Dragon Saga. Shadow Dragon Saga is just like, hey, Dragon Balls, enemies. Super Saiyan 4 is used a lot more. Because he was mostly a joke fight throughout most of Super 17, and he was introduced in Baby Saga. And he was tossed around in that one. But anyways, I think most of the wishes would be understandable, but instead of Goku and Pan just going through one Shadow Dragon at a time, I believe it should be the entirety of the Dragon Ball team. So I believe Goku and Vegeta would go after Nova and Ice. Trunks and Goten, I'd say, would go after probably Oceanus would probably be the best for them, just because Goten's in his like female obsessed kind of mind, where it's just like, I want to get a date. And he'd probably see Oceanus as pretty and try to hit her up. Then it would be Bola, so Bra, and Pan, I'd say, would go after Hayes. So that's 3 more left. Piccolo still dies by the end of Baby Saga that way. The Black Stars... Oh... Shoot. Okay, we're rewriting the Black Star Dragon Ball searching. Vegeta, Goten, Trunks still exists on Earth. It's Pan, Piccolo, and Goku. That way we get time with Piccolo. He has a reason to die because most of his teachings to the new generation is over. He's taught a full 2 generations, and he gets to move on because he believes he is now becoming a problem, which is similar to what happened with Goku at the end of the Cell arc. That makes more sense to do. But anyways, so Trunks and Goten versus Oceanus, Bra and Pan versus Hayes, Goku versus Nova, Vegeta versus Ice, Gohan versus I can't remember his name. The one that absorbs powers through like a mole and Pan. It'd be nice for him to do that one. That leaves Rage. Well, no. That just leaves Rage, because Sin is kind of the meet-up. Like, after everyone is done, they meet up. So Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, Goten, Bra, Pan, Gohan. I feel like any background characters that would still be left would be able to fight off Rage, and then they'd all meet up to fight Sin. Well, Vegeta and Goku run into Sin, and they need backup. That's how Oob would be a perfect person for Rage. And then I would do Vegeta and Goku are able to get the job done, but once Omega happens, they need to go Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. And then one other change I forgot to mention is that I would like to see Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta in Baby Saga. That way, hey, I'm on the same strength as Goku, and because of me being possessed by another being, it gives me that little bit of edge to beat Goku in Super Saiyan 3 form. And then because of Super Saiyan 4 Goku in Baby Saga, I believe Super Saiyan 4 in the Hell on Earth saga. So basically, to kind of summarize, God Goku and so super timeline. Battle of Gods doesn't change. Resurrection of F is not Resurrection of F. It is just Revenge of Cooler. That way, no Golden Frieza happens, but Final Form Cooler happens. And instead of Blues, we get introduced to God Vegeta. That way, gods still become relevant. In Universe 6, we get Evolution God Vegeta and Kaioken God Goku. In the Future Saga, it's Future Gohan Black. And then they use Blue to kind of like burst and attack. And then in Universe Survival Saga, they pull out mostly everything is normal. In Universe Survival Saga, Gogeta God Gogeta showed up in Brawly. And then instead of the very tall haired beast, it would be more of a very close to Super Saiyan 2 Youth Gohan, but with a more, hey, this is Ultimate Gohan, but in a different stage. And then also it'd be like a clashing of the hybrid blood. And then for GT, it's basically, instead of Trunks, Pan, and Goku, it'd be Pan, Piccolo, and Pan. That way we have a lead up to Piccolo's sacrifice. We have, a bigger reason why Trunks is controlled instead of just, hey, I planted an egg in you. And then I would say everything normally happens. Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta is introduced in the fight against Baby. And that gives him, and because of Baby's extra power, it gives him the edge over Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Everything normally happens. Hell on Earth Saga instead of Super 17 Saga. There is no Super 17. It's just Hack-a-Shack from the special that opens a portal to Hell. They all come down. And instead of it just being Super Saiyan 4 Goku, it's Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta. But they're kind of divided in fighting off all these different forces. And then they come together to do the last punch on Hack-a-Shack. And then for the Shadow Dragon Saga, it's not just Goku, it's Trunks and Goten for Oceanus, Bra and Pan for Haze, Majub for Rage, Gohan fights the one that can absorb powers, don't remember his name, Goku versus Nova, Vegeta versus Ice, and then they all come together. Goku and Vegeta against Sin, and then once they get the drop on him, he becomes Omega. They try to fight. Basically, everyone comes together once they sense the surge of power. They give him the chance to go Super Saiyan 4, and then they don't do a whole run around. They after 3 attempts at fusion, Goku happens, he gets attacked, and then Universe Spirit Bomb happens, leading into him leaving with the dragon. And I believe I would like something similar to AF happening, where Goku, he is kind of the last minute protector while everyone else is still getting their chance to do their own thing. Same thing with Superhero or Super. I would like everyone to go on their own paths of power. Beast Gohan, I believe, is a good start. There should be one more form to give him his top. I believe Goku would be a decent Sun Wukong. So instead of Super Saiyan 4, it'd be more of a Monkey Lord looking character. Vegeta as Ultra Ego. Or like a Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 would be nice. And then for Brawly, I believe he would be a very good, like, in one of the comics, there's the brother to Vegeta, and he's able to like stay in Super Saiyan 4, but it doesn't look different. I believe that his form should be very subtle. Like, yes, Super Saiyan still exists, but like you barely notice the difference between 2, 3, 4, and all the others. Anyways, that's it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.